Listen, here is a scoop for you. There is a wine that you've probably never heard of, a ghost wine. An American wine this is, made in the Napa Valley, of course, that is more expensive than any Bordeaux wines or any other US wines that might in fact well be the most expensive wine in the whole world that you can buy today. You thought Screaming Eagle or Petrus were expensive? Well, wait until you find out how much this one costs, and very, very few have ever talked about it or told its story. But you deserve to know. Hello, bonjour, and welcome to your new Bonheur Private Wines video where we learn about wine together weekly. Brought to you by the best wine club in America. More about them later. I'm your host, Julien Michel, Bordeaux-trained winemaker and well-traveled connoisseur of fine wines, as I've made high-end wines with my own hands, those ones in 6 different gorgeous wine countries around the globe and more than 10 different wine regions, including California, France, obviously Italy, Spain or New Zealand. So here on this channel, I like to explore and explain with you the finest wine appellations in the world. We have a series on that, but also the finest producers. We've already talked about the most expensive Bordeaux wines, including the famous of all Petrus in Pomerol, or the priciest Spanish wine, and we'll cover more together. But today I want to bring you valuable info about the most expensive American wine. I wanted to look into the most expensive American wine, and I thought we would talk about cult wines that have been legendary for a long time, such as Harlan Estate or Screaming Eagle, but what I found surprised me to no end, and it will surprise you as well, I'm sure. Let's talk about it. Before we reveal how expensive this wine is, and before we look into if this is the most expensive wine in the world or not, let's explain what I'm talking about. If you look at the list of the most expensive wines of Napa Valley of 2024, which is essentially a list of the most expensive American wines on a site like Wine Searcher, which is the most accurate for this, you will notice that one winery, one producer called Ghost Horse Vineyard makes not only the number 1 most expensive, but also the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th most expensive wines in the whole of the US, among and often ahead of staple cult wines such as Screaming Eagle, Harlan Estate, Realm Cellars, or Schaefer. And I had myself never heard about it while I worked at Wine Searcher myself a few years ago, and I stared at these kind of wines and prices for quite a long time, and I'm usually quite familiar with those. When I found this apparent anomaly, I had to investigate further. What's going on here? Before we dig into this though, a word on the Bonheur Private Wine Club, the best wine club in America. We select handcrafted wines from all around the globe, Italy, France, Argentina, Spain and beyond, so you can get your hands delivered at your doorstep on the finest wines from small producers that we select among hundreds and hundreds of wines to be the best that you can taste. And I explain about those wines in videos where I taste them and explain where they come from with you so we can learn together. Check them out in the video description. When I looked up Ghost Horse Vineyard on Google, I found, well, very little information about it. There's a pretty good article on Sally Bernstein's website, whatever that is, but there's not even a date on that article. There's a thread on Reddit from 5 years ago that discussed it a bit, and another thread on Wine Berserkers from 14 years ago. That all seemed so strange. I had to dig a little deeper and learn more, which I did. Hopefully some of you have some maybe insider info that you can tell us in the comments if you know this winery, heard about it, but here's what I could find. A quick background overview. It turns out Ghost Horse Vineyard is in the Coombsville area of the Napa Valley. It's just a very small vineyard planted in 1997 and purchased in 2001 by a winemaker named Todd Anderson. Anderson grew up on a farm in Michigan apparently, and his family founded Anderson's Corn Valley Vineyards in St. Helena in 1983. But in the late 1990s, he also wanted to make high-end wines, as a good winemaker wants to do. So he launched the Ghost Horse Project and label, whose first vintage was made in 2001 but released in 2009, I believe. It's basically, as far as I understand, a boutique, highly exclusive operation where one wine is made from one barrel only. And each barrel is more expensive than the next while there's only a few barrels made. So just a few barrels and that's it. And very expensive. But wait, there's more. But before we get to the price of this wine, how expensive it is, sacre bleu, I see that 85% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, and that's very sad. What are you doing? Do you want to learn more about wine? Maybe it's time to like and subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like if you're enjoying the content. I'll see you soon. Stay tuned to our wine world. The Ghost Horse Vineyard, and it's hard for me to pronounce, is a venture dedicated to making luxury Cabernet Sauvignons from its small 2-acre vineyard, only 2 acres or 0.8 hectares for the Europeans in the crowd. Only about 240 cases of Ghost Horse are produced annually apparently, although it's hard to know for sure. If you're wondering, that's a little less than 3,000 bottles spread across 6 different wines. So about 1 barrel or 2 maybe made each vintage for each wine. You have the standard Cabernet Sauvignon, just named Cabernet Sauvignon, that starts at $700 a bottle. It's affordable, it's cheap. Then there's a Chardonnay, and it's the only white wine of the property, a newer addition to the lineup at $900 a bottle. Then there is a Fantôme, which means, if you don't know, ask a Frenchman, ghost in French. Fantôme, ghost. That sells for around $2,000 a bottle. The Apparition Cabernet at $3,000 a bottle, and the Spectre, or Spectre in French, at $4,000 a bottle. Those wines are generally available only through allocation and the winery's own members/waiting list, so it's difficult to know the prices for sure, although it seems curiously a few bottles have managed to fly through the walls of the winery and appear at Total Wine shops in Florida. Another inexplicable, intriguing fact in our investigation. How did that happen? At the top of the line and most expensive wine in Ghost Horse Vineyards range is the Cabernet named Premonition, and it sells for, buckle up, $6,000 a bottle, making it the most expensive Napa wine, California wine, and American wine of them all, well ahead of Screaming Eagle at a mere $4,000 a bottle. It's more expensive than any Australian wine or Spanish wine or Italian wine, Champagne wine, even more expensive than all the Bordeaux wines, more expensive than all the chateaux of the left bank, Chateau Margaux or Lafite, or the right bank, even more than Petrus itself, the French Bordeaux legend. The only few wines that it cannot beat in price are a few also ultra-exclusive Burgundy Grand Cru wines from a few iconic producers in tiny cult vineyards. And even in Burgundy, if you look at all the crazy expensive bottles, many are available only in old vintages. So basically collector bottles that are not produced anymore, which biases their average price because they're not made, because the people who made them that are legendary died. Among wines that are still produced today, only a handful of Burgundy producers like Romanée-Conti or Leroy's Montrachet Grand Crus are notably more expensive than this wine, reaching $20,000+ dollars a bottle. But that's it. Outside of Burgundy, the Ghost Horse Premonition is the most expensive wine in the world. And now you know about it. What a story. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like to support our work and share it with all our wine connoisseurs friends so they also get to hear this story. I'm sure a few of them would like to know. More fine wine videos for you here, the most expensive Bordeaux wine right here, things to know about Petrus and Pomerol, or some champagne content for you. Keep watching the channel. Please, so much to learn here. Take care, drink safe and tasty, and I will see you soon in the wonderful world of wine. Cheers. When I looked up ghost horse vineyard, when I googled ghost horse